Good morning everyone, it is the 10th of August today. I've had a few mates in the last couple of days point this next story out to me, and I thought, I've got the reader going to read it all, and I thought let's all just see if I could put my 2 bits in and perhaps give some alternative thoughts on what the IPCA had to say about 2 cops abusing, assaulting 2 young chaps simply for recording in public. It seems to be a going trend at the moment that New Zealand police have issues with being recorded. Well, if they have issues with being recorded, stop fucking recording us. I tell you what, you stop recording us, we'll stop recording you. You stop robbing us blind with your revenue collection by recording us on the roads. Perhaps do something to help the safety of the roads instead of just raping everyone blind of roughly $70 to $90 million a year through speed tickets, which does absolutely fuck all. Me standing down the road with a sign stops people, slows people down. You pricks sitting in a mufti vehicle that people don't even realise is a speed camera ain't doing fuck all. But that's my pet peeve. We'll move on from that. So bear with me here and I will just get this playing. We'll get to the start here. Okay, it was in the paper about 3-4 days ago. I'll just skip the intro bit here. Bear with me.
IPCA finds officers used excessive and unjustified force in arresting men who took video of them.
Really? So that's what the IPCA's found. At least they did that sort of thing right, but the rest is a bit of a joke.
An independent police conduct authority report said that 2 officers used excessive and unjustified force in making arrests.
Oh well, of course then the law will treat them equally and charge them for that excessive force. Let's see, if we had used excessive force against the police, would we just be getting sanctioned and a slap on the hand? Let's listen more.
One was charged with common assault, although the charge was later dropped.
Really? Okay, so one officer was charged with common assault, so clearly there was enough evidence to charge them. Wonder why they dropped it. Let's listen more.
Both officers were sanctioned after an internal investigation.
Oh well, that's alright then. Let's see, if we assault police, unlawfully arrest them, let's just let me and my internal crew sanction me. No need for charges or anything, no need for anything like that. If someone does something wrong, we'll just let their internal group sanction them. We won't worry about the justice system, will we? No, because that would give the impression that there's equal justice, wouldn't it? Moving on.
A police officer was charged with assault after 2 men who were filming an early morning police incident on their phones were pushed, handcuffed, and forcibly arrested, only to be released hours later.
Okay, so a cop was charged with assault after 2 men were filming them. What a crime. 2 men, let's put this in another term. 2 men were exercising their right under Section 14 of New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990 to seek, receive and impart information and opinions of any kind in any form, meaning they were standing in fucking public recording public servants in the course of their duties, doing abso-fucking-lutely nothing wrong, and then 2 cops decide to come up, give them shoves, push them into a bus stop, destroy one phone, lose the other one, in other words, get rid of the evidence of what they were filming, and then used their powers to handcuff them, i.e. torture them, take away their freedoms, involuntarily incarcerate them, just to release them a few hours later. Why? Because they can. Because there is no equal justice. Those cops aren't going to be charged. Those cops aren't going to be arrested and done for involuntary incarceration or false imprisonment or anything like that. No, no, no. They're just going to get a sanction. Which means they won't be allowed 3 donuts the next week. They'll only get 2. And god damn, they better learn from that. No glazed donuts either. No, no, no. Just a shitty fucking sugar-coated ones. Moving on.
The charge against the police officer was later withdrawn when the man who was pushed with excessive force indicated that he was not prepared to give evidence in court.
Really? So if other fucking witnesses indicate they don't want to give evidence, I don't know, perhaps there was some intimidation there. New Zealand Police, did you intimidate witnesses because they didn't want to give evidence anymore? Anyone else who doesn't want to give evidence, the court will fucking summons them. And if they don't come to court, it's contempt of court and they'll get arrested for it. But no, no, no. This young chap doesn't want to give evidence. And I wonder why.
However, 2 officers involved in the incident in central Auckland in 2022 were later sanctioned, and significant work was done with their team on its practice and culture.
Oh, well, that's all right then. Significant work was done in their practice and culture. So that makes it perfectly okay for them to assault, arrest, involuntarily incarcerate and lock people up for a few hours, take away their freedoms, take away their rights. But that's all right. There was some, well, let's quote it, significant work done with them. They were told for an extra 10 minutes, don't attack people that are filming you. That's that significant work going hard out. Moving on.
The Independent Police Conduct Authority, IPCA, investigated the encounter and found that police used excessive and unjustified force in arresting the 2 men.
Well, if the IPCA found that they used excessive force, that's all right then, isn't it? I guess all's well in the world.
The men also claimed that officers deliberately drove in a manner which left them bouncing around like loose basketballs while handcuffed and unable to brace themselves while in the back of a police van.
Then let's look at that. Aren't you supposed to transport, prisoners, incarcerations? Aren't you supposed to transport them at least buckled in for their safety? Isn't road safety an important priority? Bouncing people around like basketballs. This is an old fucking game that the cops play with anyone in the back of a paddy wagon. They don't give a fuck. And if they've got issues with them and they want to teach that person a lesson because they're over fucking zealous, power hungry fucking cops, they won't buckle you in. They might brake excessively, go over jitterbugs. What do they give a fuck? They don't have to pay for the repairs of the vehicle. And I find it interesting that the authority was unable to determine, we'll hear that shortly, the authority, the IPCA, was unable to determine if the cops drove it in a manner such like they're being reported. Well, don't you have GPS? Can't you tell if there was excessive braking? Can't you tell if the fucking stop starting was too much? Can't you tell if they were taking corners too wrong? Don't you monitor your own officers? Or are you too busy monitoring people that are monitoring you, using their rights? Bouncing around like basketballs. That's an old game, they still do it. What a fucking joke. But this just goes to show the respect that the police have for the public's trust and confidence in their policing.
But the authority was unable to determine if the van was driven intentionally to cause harm to the occupant.
Really? Pretty useless then, aren't you, fucking IPCA? Moving on.
During the arrests, one of the men's phones was damaged.
I wonder how that happened.
And the other went missing. Its owner later tracked it to an unrelated address in Auckland.
So some other poor fucker found the phone. Luckily it must have been an iPhone, Find My Phone, and that took him to where the phone was. So someone found it and gave it back to them. That's all dandy. Why didn't the police secure the evidence? Two guys, both filming, not hard to keep track of a cell phone. But of course the police don't want to keep track of that evidence because that would show their disgusting behaviour. Moving onwards.
The officers are not named in the IPCA report released today.
And they fucking well should be. So other members of the public know to steer clear of overzealous, overpower-hungry fucking oafs that like to attack people for doing nothing wrong, for keeping track of them. The only thing they had to fear was transparency and accountability. That's why they attacked those two guys. That's why they shoved them. That's why they arrested them. That's why they punched them. Moving onwards, I'd love to see them try that shit with me. I think it's about time I need to go back out. Luckily, just as a side issue, I had to go back down to Timaru shortly. So this time, me and my two boys, both 6'3", big fellas, sweet as anything, you know, nice as humble pie, but my two boys block a lot of sun. So me and my two boys are going down to help my mum. We've got to do some fencing and some tree trimming and shit for her. She's all alone now. Dad's dead. So I've got to go help mum out with the farm, and unfortunately my sister's just been diagnosed with a returning horrible thing. Let's just say if you're born in July, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, she's unable, and I'm really quite concerned for my sister's health more than my mum. So I'm going back down shortly to help everybody out on the farm. But I'm driving down this time, so I might just stop and take a few photos of different police stations. I might just stop and test different stations all the way down to Timaru from Auckland and see how they get on. I know Rangiora's got some issues. They like to trespass people for exercising their rights. I know Rangiora police station definitely going to have to get a stop and a check on. But, you know, we'll see how we get on. Moving onwards.
Identified as Officer A and Officer B.
Officer A and Officer B. So Officer Arsehole and Officer Bastard. We'll call them that. Moving on.
The two men, one of whom made the complaint to the IPCA, and who are cousins, were named Mr. X and Mr. Z.
Fair
The
enough.
report detailed how they were walking past an incident involving several police at 6 a.m. on September 25, 2022, which led to one man being arrested and another taken to hospital.
Right. So one of the fucking guys filming gets straight to jail, straight into custody, and the other one was treated so badly for recording that he ended up in hospital after being punched by the officers. But then we don't have the footage. One was damaged, the other one was lost. No one wants to make any testimony because the police are really good at intimidating witnesses not to show up, especially when they're testifying against their fellow officers.
Mr. Z took out his phone and started filming.
Way to go!
Officer A and Officer B warned Mr. Z not to interfere before Officer A pushed the man and then arrested him for obstruction.
Classic go-to. It's either obstruction. Yes, that happens a lot over in America too. We're going to arrest you for obstruction if you don't give us your name because it's like crack and we really fucking need our fix. That's the way it works. You're either going to get arrested for obstruction or disorderly behaviour. That's their go-to. That's the standard. Hook them up for something. Oh, we'll do it for, over in the UK. It's Public Order Act. You know. Just it fucking stuns me. What about the police that were obstructing the men in their cameras? That's obstruction. These guys did fucking nothing wrong, got assaulted, attacked for doing their own job, and they get charged with obstruction. Moving on. Let's see what the X-Men set does next. Mr. X, what happened?
Mr. X then started filming and Officer A arrested him for the same offence.
Gosh, how insecure are these police officers?
During the arrest, Mr. X stepped or was forced backwards into a bus shelter.
Oh, really? So did he step back or was he forced? Both can't be true. Okay, sounds to me like he was forced back. Otherwise, why put or was forced? They don't know, so they're just covering their ass. Way to go, New Zealand Herald. But there's no or there. The cops come up during the arrest and forced them back. But they want to say stepped, just in case, just to cover all angles, cover their ass. You can read between the lines. Anybody with half a brain in their fucking head who's had any dealings with police knows exactly what happened during this. Read between the lines, people.
Both men were taken in the van to the Auckland custody suite.
Bounced like basketballs, let's not forget. They weren't just taken, they were tortured on the way.
Mr. Z was held for 5 hours and Mr. X for 2.5 hours before they were released.
Well, according to Wright v. Bozale in 2016, those guys should have got a hefty payout. Nick Wright got $14,000 for being arrested and unlawfully incarcerated for 5 hours, not being told what his charges were, and all the rest of it. Although they say obstruction, that's what they're telling the paper. The guys in the clink, they wouldn't have been told jack shit. Why? Because the cops have fuck all, apart from obstruction, the old go-to. Moving on.
The IPCA investigation made several findings, including that officers A and B were not justified in pushing the men.
No, assaulting the men. Let's not make it light. Whether you're pushing, shoving, or doing anything else that involves bodily contact, if it's unwanted contact, that's assault. And battery. There's no pushing.
And that their arrests and the force used against them were unlawful.
Great, then you're going to charge them, just like any other person would be, for unlawful conduct. Aren't ya? Because that's what the police are supposed to do. Act impartially. Unless it's one of their own fucking thin blue.
If the arrest of Mr. Z had been lawful, the force used against him by officers A and B would have been justified, the report said.
That's what the report said. No, that's what common sense tells you. Moving on.
However, in the case of Mr. X, other officers reported that either Officer A or B had thrown punches at him.
Really? So at least some of the other officers were there, did the right thing and reported unlawful behaviour of other officers. Good job. Did they get promotions? Well, if the others were sanctioned, they should have got fucking some sort of commendation. Doubt it. They probably got reamed by all of the other officers for knocking out a fellow boy in blue. That's probably what happened. This is all speculation, mind you, all presumption, because I haven't spoken to the... I've just read the thing from the Herald and thought, oh my fucking God, how many times is this going to carry on? Let's not forget what happened to Liz Gunn in the airport for filming at an airport, where the cops have an agreement with Auckland Airport that they can just trespass anyone they like for doing lawful activity. Smurfette. Constable Cherie here. We know all about that, don't we? Moving on.
Even if the arrest of Mr. X had been lawful, the force used during his arrest was excessive and therefore unjustified.
Exactly. Don't need to use force to arrest someone. Even if the arrest of Mr. X had been lawful, meaning it was unlawful, the force used during the arrest was excessive and therefore unjustified. Well, what does that mean? Some retraining need done? Perhaps some basic rights training to all officers so they know not to piss all over the general public? Doubt that's going to happen.
The IPCA report said the only potential justification officers A and B had for using force was in self-defense. However, we do not believe that either officer feared for their safety, the report said.
Why would they fear for this? They're the ones with all the torture equipment. The two men, X and Z, they had a camera. I mean, let's think here. Oh God, there's a camera. Shit, scared! Oh, look, there's a couple more cameras. There's another camera on the drone. Oh, look, there's another camera. I mean, holy fuck. There's another camera. I mean, Honest to God, if police walked in here, they would need fucking counselling for years. There's cameras everywhere. Let's be fearful. Fuck, that looks like accountability. Holy shit, there's some transparency behind me. That's what this bullshit... I know I'm going on, but still. Moving onwards.
In our view, they were therefore not acting in self-defense
No
and
shit.
had no lawful basis for the more forceful pushes of Mr. X and Mr. Z.
More forceful pushes. Even trying to downplay that. Let's not forget there were some punches thrown. Forceful pushes. Because they were in fear of not getting an extra third donut. That'll be it.
Officers initially charged Mr. X and Mr. Z with obstruction.
Of course they did.
But a decision was made in the custody suite to release them both with the offer of a restorative justice pathway.
So, even though they've done nothing wrong, the only way they could get out of being unlawfully arrested and unlawfully fucking detained and incarcerated was to agree to do a restorative justice. Restorative justice, what a fucking joke that is. But that's the pathway. So even though they'd done nothing wrong, the only way they could get out was to accept that sort of bullshit. And in fairness, they probably knew that once they filed the IPCA, everything was going to get dropped. Everything was going to get sorted if they had proof. The only thing saving these people was the other officers saying that they were pushed. That's the only thing that made this go anywhere, was a couple of officers or whoever actually agreeing and saying that they were using excessive force, or whatever the term was earlier in the piece. That's all they've done. Moving on.
As the pair considered their arrests unlawful, this was not followed through.
Yeah, why the fuck should they do restorative justice when they've done absolutely nothing wrong? Are the cops going to go and do restorative justice? Nope. We don't want to appear two-tiered, but we'll treat ours different than we treat you guys that actually pay us to do everything.
In our view, the police decision to not pursue charges against Mr. Z and Mr. X was not only appropriate but necessary to avoid police embarrassment and wasting judicial time and costs, the IPCA said.
In their view, to avoid police embarrassment, you guys are a total embarrassment. You don't need to avoid it. You are. Deal with reality. The police embarrass themselves time and time again. Need I bring your minds back to 2021 and a certain lady at a protest down in, let's call it the Beehive, somewhere down that neck of the woods? Wasn't a girl ripped out, butt fucking naked from a protest? Wasn't there another kid, I believe his name was Alexander, that got fucking bench pressed into the ground, 17 years old? And you've got our mate that helped out Cherie here in Auckland, Aaron Schuster, who's the one that's fucking slamming his face into the ground under arrest. All of this was captured, big song and dance about it at the time, but as per fucking normal, nothing eventuated from it. It got buried, swept under the rug, nothing to see here, please. Carry on. And while you're at it, don't fucking record us. That's what the police are doing. Moving on.
Relieving Auckland City District Commander, Acting Superintendent Sunny Patel.
That would be sunny.patel@police.govt.nz if anybody has any questions or concerns.
Said that in addition to the IPCA report, police carried out an internal investigation which resulted in Officer A being charged with common assault.
Really? But what happened to that charge, after that internal investigation? Whatever happened to an independent investigation? Why isn't there an independent group investigating the police? Oh no, sorry, that's right, it's called the Independent Police Conduct Authority. So because they're IPCA, we're supposed to expect that they're independent. They're all ex-fucking cops. Independent police cock assholes. Independent police can assault. Is that what IPCA stands for? There's nothing fucking independent about them. And of course, once you make a complaint to the IPCA and then perhaps try and do an OIA request, an Official Information Act request for some information, I'm sorry, it's in front of the IPCA, which is an independent organisation, and it's not bound by Official Information Act requests. We don't have to fill out or answer your fucking questions. Now that you've filed it with us, we're not going to do nothing. We're just going to bury it. Because only 5% of complaints to the IPCA actually get investigated, and sweet fuck all of them come out with results. But that's alright. We've all got trust and confidence in the IPCA. Independent police cock arseholes. Moving on.
However, the charge was withdrawn when the man did not appear in court to give evidence, Patel said.
Really? Is that what you said, Acting Chief Superintendent? Wonder why he didn't appear in court to give evidence. Could there have been some intimidation, some manipulation, some witness tampering going on? Perhaps the guy was fucking pressured by the police not to give evidence. And of course the court does have subpoena power, like I said. So why not give evidence? I see no reason to hold a police that assaults you to accountability. No reason whatsoever. Unless that witness was gotten to by, gee, I wonder who's the biggest gang in New Zealand. They all wear these patches. It's a hat that's similar to this. I can't remember what the name of that fucking gang was. I mean, can you remember what the name of that gang was? Oh my god. Really? Hello? This is Varian. Named after the head honcho from World of Warcraft. This is Prince Varian or King Varian. What do you have to say for yourself? Anything? Wow. Wow. You gonna come and see Daddy? Come on. Come on. Come on. Don't say no to me. Come on. Come on. Really? Are you Daddy's boy? He's Daddy's boy. Yes, you are. You're my good boy. Yeah. It's feeding time. Don't worry. Can you hold out and starve for a minute or two? Can you, please? Really? Wow. Honestly, if it's not children, it's the animals. Always demanding. Don't know if you guys have that same problem. Moving on.
We also undertook an employment investigation, which resulted in both Officer A and Officer B receiving an internal sanction.
Well done, Patel. Internal sanctions for those officers. Like I said, they only get 2 fucking donuts, not 3. We'll do 3 that way. Don't want to tip off any Germans if we're doing things thrice the wrong way. Yes, I love Inglourious Bastards. Great movie. Final last say that the report has to say is,
officers can always learn from situations like this one, and we will continue to do so.
We could read that another way, that officers will do whatever the fuck they like and continue to assault and unlawfully arrest people and learn from it. That's what I take that. Officers can always learn from situations like this one. If you see someone with a camera, for instance, leave them the fuck alone. If you see someone filming you, smile, wave. Don't go and assault them. Don't push them. Don't punch them. Don't bounce them around in the back of police vehicles. Don't intimidate them not to give evidence. Don't lose their phones. Don't destroy the other phones or damage them. I wonder if they got compensated for their damaged property. I wonder if they got compensated for their loss of freedom. None of that's in the IPCA report, but that's all right, because those officers were sanctioned. Of course, we don't know what that means, because that's an internal phrase that the police just cannot divulge. What a fucking joke. Like I say, I think it's time more people picked up their fucking cell phones and cameras, and when they see police arresting, It doesn't have to be an incident where police are out decking fucking people, but just in the course of their duty, fucking record them. You need to be independent witnesses of your public servants to make sure they are held accountable. If you don't, you get shit like this happening. Anyway guys, much love to you all. That's half an hour's worth. I'm stunned by that. Moving onwards though, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Like I said, I will keep you posted. There is going to be some really cool footage. Both my boys, 19 and 20, are looking forward to cruising on down with Dad to see the South Island. They haven't been down south since they were like scone grabbers. 2 little scone grabbers, 3 or 4, even younger. It's the last time they've been down, so they've never really seen the mighty mainland in the South Island. They've never seen snow. So, yeah, it's going to be a great trip, even though we're going down there to work and to help out the family, because that's what you're supposed to do. I'm stunned. But yeah, tough times ahead. Shit happens. I don't think anything's going to get any better until you and the rest of your fucking mates get off your asses and start holding people that need accountability to accountability and transparency. Try not to get pushed into bus stops or assaulted or arrested by overzealous police that, you know, could lose a donut or 2 in their sanctions. And we'll leave it there. Much love, peace, take care of yourselves, guys. Until I see you again. Bye now.